Hi, everybody. Welcome to English Digest. I'm Stephanie.
I am Tom.
Hey, it's day 2 of our travel unit, and we're going back to the beautiful country of Japan. We're going to spend some more time in Kyoto. These areas we're going to be discussing actually come from a book called Hidden Japan by Neil Johnston. And he talks about some of the places that the majority of tourists have never heard of, nor have they seen.
Right, and of course, we're always looking for places like that.
Yeah.
Maybe you've been to Italy before, and you've seen the Colosseum, you've been to the Vatican City, you've been to the Leaning Tower of Pisa. Now you want to go to some places that are off the beaten track for a special travel experience, and that's what this information is all about. Of course, lots of people go to Kyoto and see all the major tourist destinations or all the sites, and once you've seen those, you want to check out some more special localities or destinations, tourist sites in the city, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. So let's get to it. Let's listen to the entire contents of our lesson now one time. From Hidden Japan by Neil Johnston. Kyoto is a wonderful vacation destination boasting some spectacular architecture and plenty of natural beauty spots. However, many of these same spots can quickly become packed with tourists. Take a few steps off the beaten track, though, and you'll uncover some of Kyoto's hidden gems. Head south from the Gion district and its crowded Hanamikoji Street, and after a short stroll, you'll find the Kennin-ji. This Buddhist temple was founded by the legendary Eisai, the monk who introduced both Zen Buddhism and green tea to Japan. Wander the rooms of this temple and discover a treasury of incredible artworks, including Sotatsu's renowned painting, Wind and Thunder Gods. The bamboo forests of Arashiyama, Storm Mountain are popular with tourists, but you can enjoy the same relaxing atmosphere while soaking up some culture at the Kodai-ji temple. Head east from Kennin-ji, and you'll find this temple in the shadow of the Higashi Otani Cemetery. Follow the paths through Kodai-ji's bamboo groves to find a quiet haven away from Kyoto's busy streets. Don't miss the twin tea houses in the temple grounds. They were built to honor Sen no Rikyu, who emphasized the simple, direct honesty of Japan's wabi-cha tea ceremony. Wait until the sun descends to explore another side of Kyoto. Plunge into the mysterious depths of Ponto-cho, and you'll stumble across some wonderful bars and eateries. Many of these places have little to identify them, so it's recommended that you obtain some local assistance. Brave the mysteries of Ponto-cho, however, and you won't be disappointed. These are just a few of Kyoto's secrets. Take the time to explore, and you're guaranteed to find even more.
Okay, folks. So Kyoto, it says, is a wonderful vacation destination. When you use that word destination, it's just the place where you're going to go. Maybe it's a place that you've planned to go and see on vacation, or maybe it's just a place where your plane is going because you're on a business trip and you're being sent to talk to some clients. So that's your destination. If you are in an airport, that's what you'll see on the boards that they have, for the travelers to look at, destination from to where you're going. So this is a wonderful vacation destination. I have to agree. I was only in Kyoto for, I think, 3 days, but wow, it was so beautiful. I'm afraid I didn't see any of the off the beaten track places, though. I saw the bamboo forest, which is so beautiful. It was raining the whole time, so that was kind of fun. But this author here, Neil Johnston, is going to take us on a trip, at least in his book, to look at some of the more unusual places in Kyoto.
Right, so it's a popular vacation destination, and it boasts some spectacular architecture and plenty of natural beauty spots. So we could say boasting here, which means it has those things, and they're really great. So if this city were a braggart, or if it liked to show off, it could boast about those things. It could say, hey, I've got these wonderful temples and shrines and old buildings and spacious green parks and stuff like that. So indeed, it could brag about that. And so, yes, indeed, it does boast some of the spectacular architecture, some old traditional buildings, and it's got lots of natural beauty as well if you like the great outdoors. However, many of these same spots can quickly become packed with tourists. That's a downside, of course. Everybody wants to go see the same thing. That's probably a problem in Japan. When it's cherry blossom season, of course, everybody wants to go where all the cherry trees are to take those pictures. So, of course, these areas will be packed with tourists, which means there are lots of tourists there, and you have to struggle to get pictures because hundreds of other people want the same picture.
Yeah, I did mention that it was raining when we went through the bamboo forest, but that was probably a good thing because we were about the only ones dumb enough to keep walking through the forest. We literally were just soaked. We had umbrellas, of course, but it doesn't matter when it's just raining nonstop. But it was beautiful to be alone. So, yeah, you're kind of wanting to see these places where you can just be at peace and where it's tranquil. But that's hard when it's packed with tourists. Now, it says here, take a few steps off the beaten track, though. If you go past the places that are just big tourist attractions, and you might uncover some of Kyoto's hidden gems. A gem here is being used to represent some place that's really lovely. But a gem literally is a stone or a rock or some sort of jewel. You might have a ring that has a beautiful gemstone. You'll often see gemstone in one word together, gemstones. But hidden gems, just really a cool place. And if it's hidden, nobody knows about it.
Exactly. Of course, gem, as you said, is part of the word gemstone, which would include diamonds, rubies, sapphires, etc., etc. So these, of course, are special places that you want to go to. And that will make your trip more rewarding and profitable for you and something you can talk to your friends about when you get back home. Now, here in the next paragraph, it says, head south from the Gion district and its crowded Hanamikoji Street. And after a short stroll, you'll find the Kennin-ji. Okay, so you're heading south from this district. And in this district, the Gion district, it's pretty crowded on Hanamikoji Street, which I believe means look at the flowers street, the street where you go to look at the flowers.
Oh.
And you just take a short stroll. A stroll is a leisurely walk that you go to someplace. You used to go to someplace and you don't really walk in a hurry. Of course, in the city, people aren't really strolling that much. But if you're retired and you have time and you go to local parks in the mountains, you're going to go for a stroll. You're going to enjoy your time. And you'll eventually arrive at Kennin-ji. And this Buddhist temple was founded by the legendary A+, the monk who introduced both Zen Buddhism and green tea to Japan.
Wow, that's a big deal. He didn't just kind of introduce green tea. He introduced Zen Buddhism as well. So it's not surprising he's legendary. If you're legendary, you're very, very famous. You don't have to be dead. Although a lot of people that we mentioned as being legendary have already passed on, like Elvis or Michael Jackson. I'm thinking of music here. He is very famous. He's done something quite remarkable and people want to remember him. So yeah, he introduced or brought forth Zen Buddhism. That's huge. And then green tea, which is also quite big around the world, not just in Japan. Now, you can wander the rooms of this temple. Remember, we're at the Buddhist temple that was founded by A+. Wander is very similar to stroll. So you can use stroll as a noun or a verb. Wander is only used as a verb, so be careful with that. But you're just kind of walking around with no specific destination, enjoying yourself. You're not in a hurry. People oftentimes will take a stroll or wander around the neighborhood after dinner. You can wander the rooms of this temple and discover a treasury or lots of wonderful things, a treasury of incredible artworks. And it includes some of Sotatsu's renowned works. And one of the paintings that's mentioned here is Wind and Thunder Gods. You might want to look that up, see what it looks like.
It's probably a pretty famous painting that we've seen reproductions of in various places. And this is a treasury of incredible artworks. A treasury, of course, is a place that has a lot of valuable things in one location. It could be things like artwork, but it could also be money. money, like the national treasury, which would be where all the money of a company or of a country is taken care of. And so, yes, you can see some great artworks there, lots of paintings, maybe sculptures and things like that. Now, moving on to the next paragraph, it says, the bamboo forests of Arashiyama, Storm Mountain, are popular with tourists, but you can enjoy the same relaxing atmosphere while soaking up some culture at the Kodai-ji temple. Now, we're talking about the bamboo forests, and this is an area called Arashiyama. So that's Storm Mountain as we translate this into English. They're popular with tourists. You can go there, and if you don't mind being around a bunch of other tourists, that's fine. But you can also have the same relaxing atmosphere if you soak up or enjoy some culture at the Kodai-ji temple, which may not be so crowded with tourists.
Yeah, I don't believe I went there, so that's interesting. To soak up just means you really enjoy something. You kind of are surrounded by it and you're just taking it in, soaking up. Those are very similar verb phrases, to take in, to soak up, to immerse yourself in culture there. So you can see those. If you head east from Kennin-ji, you'll find this temple in the shadow of a cemetery, Higashi Otani Cemetery. Oh, we've got the baseball player, Otani. That's the only time I've seen that.
Might be different kanji, though. But...
It could be. So cemeteries where people are buried after they've lived their lives and have passed away. So I don't know about you, Tom, but I really do like to go to cemeteries. I feel like there's a lot of history in there. I'll walk around and look at the headstones, see what people's names are, how long they lived, and it kind of feels very special in those cemeteries.
Indeed. Lots of people, of course, are afraid of cemeteries. Oh, there's a bunch of ghosts there or bodies and things like that. But still, the graves can be quite ornate and beautiful in their own way. So, of course, cemeteries are often popular tourist destinations. We'll continue talking about the sights and sounds of Kyoto in just a couple of seconds. But right now, we're going to take a break and listen to our Chinese teacher.
Hello everyone, 我是派老师。今天讲解的是 Unit 11。On and off the beaten track in Kyoto, Day 2。这个单元介绍的是日本的古都京都。这一天课程继续介绍几个作者推荐的景点，包括藏有日本国宝风神雷神图的建仁寺，还有蓝山以及仙斗町的餐酒馆等。好，我们一起来看学习重点吧。请同学看到第一个句子，这里讲到京都呢是个很好的度假胜地 ，vacation destination。度假胜地。再来，请同学看到 boasting 这个部分，首先要先跟大家说明的，就是这是分词构句的用法。那同样的主词都是 Kyoto， 都是京都，所以我们这里做了分词构句。此外，老师要特别说明是 boast 这个动词。boast 其实在中文翻译的时候，我们常常就会说这个地方有什么。那不过呢，后面通常都是比较正向的东西。就是有这个东西当做特色。好，比方说有一家新的饭店，那因为呢它有一个无边游泳池，而且是全东亚最高的，受到许多观光客的欢迎。This new hotel boasts the highest infinity pool in East Asia. This new hotel boasts the highest infinity pool in East Asia. 再来，请同学看到第二个句子。就是挤满了人 become packed with tourists， 挤满了观光客。第三个句子，请同学特别把这个 the beaten track 画起来，也就是我们标题里面的 beaten track。什么是 beaten track？ 很多人走的路是 beaten track， 前面加上 off， 那就表示什么？远离人潮、络绎不绝的地方。好，再来，请同学看到我们的第二段。第二段这里讲到这个建仁寺，第二段主要在介绍建仁寺这个景点。这个景点呢有个特色，就是这边其实是艺术品的宝库。请同学看第三个句子 ，A treasury of incredible artworks。一般而言 ，art 那是不可数的。我们讲艺术品的时候是 artworks， 而这里有非常多的艺术作品。所以是一座宝库 ，a treasury。treasury 这里是可数的，我们就把它解释为宝库就好了。 再来，请同学看到第3段第一个句子，这里在介绍蓝山这个地方。到了蓝山的时候，如果你不想要在那里人挤人，你可以到高台寺这个附近，其实气氛是很类似的，但那边人潮比较没有那么多，所以我们讲到说你可以沉浸在这个文化里面。我们动词用什么呢？ Soak up some culture， 你可以沉浸在高台寺这附近的文化氛围当中。
We're going to take a quick break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back, guys. It's day 2 of our article featuring the beautiful area of Kyoto in Japan. And we're talking about some of the attractions that aren't very well known or not as well known as some others. So we're calling these places attractions that are off the beaten track. If something's on the beaten track, of course, it's very common and a lot of people know about it. But we don't say on the beaten track actually as a phrase. But I think the title of the 2-day article is clever. So on and off the track. So off the beaten track is the phrase you'll want to memorize. It just means very uncommon, out of the ordinary. And we're, of course, in the beautiful area of Kyoto in Japan. It's a wonderful vacation destination, especially if you like history and want to kind of get that feeling of stepping back in time in Japan. It boasts some beautiful architecture. It's got some beautiful scenic views there. I was always kind of going, oh, it's so beautiful. And it's clean. It's very clean in Japan, which I really appreciate as well. Now, we're going to take a few steps off the beaten track, though, and look at some of Kyoto's hidden gems, those really beautiful places that not as many people know about. We talked about going on a short stroll and running into Kennin-ji. It's a Buddhist temple that was founded by a very famous monk called A+. He introduced Zen Buddhism into Japan and also green tea. So he's a very legendary monk. And if you wander the rooms of this temple, you'll also discover a treasury of incredible artworks. And we mentioned the beautiful painting Wind and Thunder Gods that I'm sure some of our listeners and viewers have seen.
Now, another popular tourist destination in Kyoto is the bamboo forest of Arashiyama. And if you want to avoid tourists and go to some place that's pretty much the same, you can go to Kodai-ji Temple. You head east from Kennin-ji and you'll find the temple in the shadow of this cemetery, which is where we left off. The name of the cemetery is Higashi Otani Cemetery. And follow the path through Kodai-ji's bamboo groves to find a quiet haven away from Kyoto's busy streets. So again, if you go to Kodai-ji, it's going to have these bamboo groves. A grove is like a small forest. It's a small wood or woods there. And
wooded area.
Wooded area, and it's got lots of bamboo next to the temple there. And that's a quiet haven away from the busy streets of Kyoto. Now, a haven, of course, is kind of a quiet place that you go to be by yourself, to relax, maybe to meditate, to be protected. It's kind of like a sanctuary, I suppose. And in this case, yes, it'll be quiet there. You'll be away from all those tourists. And you'll be away from the busy streets. There still might be lots of tourists who go there because they are looking for a place off the beaten track. So you never know if there are going to be lots of tourists there as well. But according to our writer, it is a place to get away from the hustle and bustle of the streets of Kyoto.
Yeah, seeing haven reminds me of a phrase we use in America called safe haven. It's part of the law. And if somebody has committed an act of criminality, they've broken the law, a lot of times they'll run to a church, for example, a Catholic church, where they'll seek safe haven, which means the priest there can actually talk to the police and say, no, I'm not letting you have him until we negotiate. So yeah, safe haven, a place of refuge, a place where you'll find some peace and tranquility, hopefully, away from Kyoto's busy streets. Now, here's some advice that we find in this book, Hidden Japan. Don't miss the twin tea houses. If it says twin, it means two. So there are two tea houses in the temple grounds. You could also say on the temple grounds, which is correct as well. The grounds just means the land around something. For example, on campus, if you talk about walking the campus grounds, it's just where the campus buildings are located, the sidewalks, the trees. It's where everything, happens to be. So they were built to honor Sen no Rikyu. My Japanese is terrible. He emphasized the simple and direct honesty of Japan's wabi-cha tea ceremony. I've seen some of the tea ceremonies in Japan, and they don't seem very simple to me. So he must have been emphasizing a different style than what I've seen. They seem very ceremonial and very formal, the ones I've seen. They're quite amazing and impressive, I must say. But it's something simple and direct. There's not a lot of ornate business going on. It's just very simple. They don't try to show off too much. So this is the wabi-cha tea ceremony. I'm sure some of our listeners have actually experienced the wabi-cha tea ceremony. I have not. I don't drink tea. Ceremonies can be a formal, religious, or a public occasion. It could be a wedding ceremony, a tea ceremony, some sort of religious ceremony. It could be different types, but usually you have a series of acts that take place during a ceremony. It's a little bit more formal than just doing whatever you want.
Right, and maybe you're going to see a tea ceremony performed at one of those twin tea houses. I did want to say the word twin sort of implies that those tea houses are identical or very similar in appearance to each other, just like the Twin Towers of the World Trade Center in New York, which no longer exist, of course, but these are twin tea houses there. And, of course, you might get to experience the wabi-cha tea ceremony. Now, moving on to the next paragraph here, it says, wait until the sun descends to explore another side of Kyoto. Okay, if something descends, it goes down. Basically, this just says, wait until sunset or wait until after sunset, and then you'll see another side of Kyoto. It will be quite different from the Kyoto you see during the day.
I'm sure. It's kind of cool. So, yeah, the sun sets. Usually we just use that language. The sun's setting, the sun is setting, the sun sets at a specific time, the sun descends. And that's when you're going to get a chance to explore another side of Kyoto. And here it says, plunge into the mysterious depths of Ponto-cho. And that I don't even recognize, so I must not have done that when I was in Kyoto. If you plunge, usually you're going from a high altitude to a low altitude very quickly. Or maybe you're diving into some water, or you're plunging in and trying something that's very risky. So it's kind of a great verb. So if you plunge into the mysterious depths, you're taking a risk. You don't know what's there. So what is it they're doing, Tom?
Well, you go there for a little bit of excitement because it's got wonderful bars and eateries, which refer to diners, restaurants, and things like that. And this area, again, is called Ponto-cho. I believe cho just means ding, as in Seaman Ding here in Taipei.
Okay.
So cho, I believe, means ding. And that's where the character cho or ding comes from. It comes from the Japanese, but that's another topic. And yes, indeed, if you're into drinking Japanese beer like Kirin or Sapporo or whatever, you can get this at the bars there, and you can have a snack as well. Sushi or whatever is probably available at eateries there. And many of these places have little to identify them, so it's recommended that you obtain some local assistance. So, of course, usually when we travel, restaurants are clearly labeled. They'll have pictures of food. They'll have bright lights, so you know that's what it is. But in this particular case, they're more subtle, okay? They're not so obvious. They have little to identify them. You won't really know they're restaurants or eateries or bars if you look at them. So you're going to have to ask some local people, hey, where are the local bars? Where are the eateries?
Yeah, we're the best ones,
yeah. There's one over there. It just looks like someone's house. No, that's actually a bar there. you can go in there and enjoy some local spirits.
So if you identify something or someone, it means something there indicates to you who they are or what it is. So yeah, it must not have big signs or what they like to do in Japan is have these bowls of fake food. They're plastic food items outside so you know what you're getting if you go in. But these have little. They don't identify them. So you have to ask for some help from the locals there. Say, hey, where would you recommend I go? So you can brave the mysteries of Ponto-cho, however, and you won't be disappointed. So to wrap up, it just says, these are just a few of Kyoto's secrets. Take the time to explore and you're guaranteed to find even more. I don't doubt it. Sounds like a fun place to go. And check out those places that are off the beaten track.
Does sound very inspiring. I think I've got to plan myself. Maybe find some hotel somewhere and stay there for 4 or 5 days and spend my entire trip in Kyoto exploring all these things that are on the beaten path and off the beaten path. Okay, it's now time to listen to our Chinese teacher.
好，接下来老师想要请同学特别看到的是第3个句子，这里有讲到竹林，前面有说 bamboo forest， 当然说得通啊。那其实竹林也可以说 bamboo groves， 像这个 groves 常常都是一些小丛林 bamboo groves， 所以高台寺这附近的竹林，你只要穿过的话，穿过这个高台寺的这个竹林，你就可以找到非常安静的地方了。那第4个句子告诉我们说，这个寺庙的庭院有非常特别的地方，就是它有个 20 houses， 有2座相似的茶室 temple grounds， 请同学特别注意的这个 ground， 它是加上 s 的，表示寺庙的庭院，是为了要纪念千利休而建。千利休就是日本的茶圣，那这边呢就讲到了它呢等于是发展出了所谓的茶道，那特别讲究就是简洁朴实。再来请同学呢看到第4段的部分。第4段的部分呢，这里讲到了，请在参观的时候，参观京都的时候，要记得不要太早回去饭店休息，等到太阳下山 wait until the sun descends， 就等到太阳下山，那你可以呢再去探访京都不一样的风采。我们看到第2句这里，如果你到了仙斗町 You'll stumble across some wonderful bars and eateries。 这里 stumble across 其实就是偶然发现的意思。再来我们请同学看到第3个句子，那不过要去发现这些餐酒馆要小心哦，因为呢他们其实没有什么标志的。 They have little to identify them，这些地方呢 they have little to identify them， 没有什么标志来让人家知道，让旅客知道说哦这就是餐酒馆，所以需要有当地人的协助。再来请看第4个句子 Brave the mysteries of Ponto-cho， 这里的 brave 是当作动词用，同学可能会觉得有点陌生，那其实呢它就是有勇敢面对的意思。比方说在夏天的时候，那我们可能呢都要冒着大太阳去不同的地方办我们需要完成的事情。 We had to brave the fall heat of the sun， 动词可以用 brave。 那还有一个固定的习语 expressions， 我们说 brave the elements， 那意思就是不论天气的好坏，你都必须要去完成这件事。 Many people brave the elements to enjoy the attractions， 有很多人为了要去欣赏这些景点，不管天气好或坏，他们都出门了。Brave the elements。 好，以上就是我们针对京都这篇文章第2天内容所做的中文讲解，谢谢大家。
That's it for today, everybody. Thanks for joining us. And in case you decide to go to Kyoto yourself for the first or second time, we hope you have a wonderful time. From all of us here at English Digest, my name is Tom.
I'm Stephanie.
Goodbye.
Bye.